News Radio 700 WLW.
There is a real problem. I don't know the extent of it, but we're going to find out here in just a second. With people and virtual cheating during the pandemic. Now, my guess is people that are going to cheat regardless of the extenuating circumstances, but this apparently has been going on enough that it has caught the eye of a good guest of this program, Jennifer Hargrave, family law attorney. And apparently Jennifer's been taking a lot of phone calls during the pandemic and is bracing for a surge in divorce filings in the coming months. Let's bring Jennifer on in here. Jennifer, how are you on this glorious Saturday?
I'm good, Ken. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, every time you and I visit, we talk about divorce, and we talk about cheating, and we talk about things that lead to the breakup of a marriage. And now here's something completely different. Because of the lockdown, a lot of people in their homes, and let's just say for the moment, if Ralph was out, and he had a little something on the side in normal times, he's home now with his wife, and all of a sudden, a little something on the side may be popping up. The wife might have figured out what's going on, and the pandemic, because of this closeness now, everybody inside the same house for a lot of times has certainly made this a real problem. I'm wondering how real it may be. What do you think?
Well, you're right. It is just like we've gotten more creative with how we're having business meetings and how we're doing education. People have certainly gotten more creative with how they're carrying on extramarital affairs. Although this really isn't anything new, we've seen a lot of this for a long time. Our devices have given us incredible access to information, and some of it is good, and new creative ways to connect with each other. So there are websites for married people who want to look to have an affair, and everybody knows that they're married and they're looking to have an affair. But there are also, I think, more common what I see are reunions via Facebook, and where people reconnect with long lost loved ones from back in the high school days, and we're definitely using our devices to rekindle lost flames and to find new ones for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to reconnect with lost flames or dying embers from my high school days. I can tell you that.
Me neither.
But here's the deal. Here, I'm reading this, and it seems staggering to me, but maybe it really shouldn't be. Ashley Madison, which is one of the websites that you mentioned, where if you're married, you can go there with the unrepentant intent of having an affair. Ashley Madison says it's been adding 17,000 new members a day. 17,000 new members a day since this pandemic began. What does that tell you about our society?
Well, it tells us we got a lot of people who are unhappy with their current arrangement. And yeah, definitely we're seeing an uptick in Ashley Madison. Ashley Madison really became famous, I think it was about 10 years ago when their system got hacked and all of their members' information was disclosed. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
I have several friends that remember that very well.
Exactly. I have some clients who do too. So, it's been around for a while. There's nothing new, but I think people are just kind of antsy, and maybe they would have looked outside of their marriage at a convention or a work trip or something like that, and those just aren't happening right now. So if they're bored in their marriage, there is a resource for them, and that is Ashley Madison.
Yeah, and because of that, it's the underlying problem is that you've got a problem in your marriage. It's Ashley Madison isn't the problem. The problem, it's merely a symptom. There's a reason why you're doing that, and it's probably because down deep you've got a problem with your marriage, right?
That's exactly the case. And I think if you are realizing in yourself that, you are looking outside of your marriage, or you're just really discontent with your marriage, I think it's really important that you stop and really kind of do an internal, check-in. Why? What's going on in your marriage that is leaving you with these needs that are unmet? And, before you bring those to your spouse, the other thing I want you to do is to really get get clear about that, and be honest with yourself. You don't need to unload all of this on your spouse right now. But a lot of times people will go to have an extramarital affair because they are afraid to hurt their partner, or they don't want to bring it out into the light that they're discontent, and so instead they kind of go into hiding and carry on these relationships. The problem is that ends up causing so much more pain in the long run. If you are not happy in your marriage, the most courageous thing you can do is to either take steps to fix it or to end your marriage. But
some people might want it both ways, Jennifer. They may want to have the marriage, and then they might want to have what's going on outside the marriage. I mean, there could be some of that going on too, right?
Well, sure. It's just there are consequences for that. So if you are trying to have both because you want to avoid the consequences of a divorce, or you want to avoid the consequences of ending the marriage, then, I would say you need to take a real hard look at that, because the ultimate consequences, you're going to end up causing a lot more pain, not only with your spouse, with children and the whole family unit. But, if you think you can get away with it and you want to carry on both, you get to be the judge of your own life. You get to make the decisions in your own life, but you just need to be prepared for the consequences that flow from that. And most of the time, most spouses are not okay with that. There are open marriages, whatever. Every person gets to live, their life the way they want to. But if your spouse isn't okay with it, you just need to know you're likely to cause a lot more damage in the long run. Yeah,
the consequences from that usually involve money. That would be the consequences from that. Jennifer Hargrave's our guest, a family law attorney, and we're talking about virtual cheating, which apparently is a phenomenon during this pandemic. As I mentioned, 17,000 new sign-ups a day for Ashley Madison during the pandemic. Okay, Jennifer, I do something that I just do, and I thought I was doing it out of respect. Whenever I go out to have a drink with somebody, or go to dinner with somebody, or I'm in the presence of somebody, we're all beholden to our cell phones. I mean, that's just the way we are anymore. But I have always turned the phone upside down, so I wouldn't be distracted by texts and tweets or whatever it might be that pops up on your cell phone that's out of respect to the people that I'm with. Turns out now that could be a sign that your spouse is cheating. If he or she is out with you and they turn their cell phone upside down because they don't want you to see, there's somewhat significant other trying to get a hold of them while they're out with you. So maybe I have to change the way I behave now when I go out.
Well, I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I mean, look, when we are out with somebody, the best thing we could do is give them our undivided attention. And I think putting our cell phone away is a way that we do that. But here's the real clue with your spouse, right? Yeah. If when you all are sitting on the couch and you're both on your devices and the other spouse, suddenly gets up and leaves the room to go into another room, right? They're hiding, they're acting out. Suddenly they never used to have a password on their phone, and now they have a password on their phone. You wake up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom, and you see them under the covers sending text messages, or in the closet sending text messages. That hiding behavior is usually a pretty good sign that there's something else going on. And, I've heard of spouses getting really creative when trying to get to see what the other partner's hiding from them, right? So with our devices now, we have those thumbprints, to open up the phone, to unlock it. And so while their partner is dead asleep, they'll bring the phone over and unlock it to get into the phone. Listen, anytime you're trying to hack into information, you have to be really careful. I would definitely advise that you speak with a lawyer first, because you can stumble into criminal territory. Some of these actions can have criminal consequences. So if your spouse is being secretive and is hiding information, talk with a lawyer if you really want to get your hands on that before you use some self-help remedies to try and get that information. But that is usually a pretty good telltale sign. If your spouse is definitely, or you find another phone. That's another big one, is that, that you'll discover another phone in your spouse's briefcase or something.
My wife leaves the room a lot with her phone at night. So you're saying I should try to find an attorney that's open, late hours or wherever I'm done working? That's my next stop. Is that what you're saying, Jennifer?
Well, she's suddenly on the phone all the time and doesn't want you to see her on the phone, you might want to have a conversation.
Oh my
gosh. More information. I always say, look, information doesn't hurt. And I don't want to build suspicion. If you have a relationship where you trust each other, these aren't,
What do you charge an hour, Jennifer? I may need to know. What do you charge an hour?
You're going to have to move to Texas, Ken.
Yeah. Good stuff. And certainly, if you are one who was thinking about doing this, you probably shouldn't. As Jennifer said, be direct. Don't avoid confrontation. If you think your marriage is going south, it's probably the best thing in the long run. And as far as this other stuff, let the buyer beware on that one. Jennifer, it's always great catching up with you. Thank you so much for your time. You have a great day.
Absolutely, Ken. Great. Thank you. Bye.
Jennifer Hargrave, family law attorney.